Howdy there. So I watched Let Me In yesterday, and I really liked this movie. This is the second viewing for me. I saw it in the theater as well. It's about a lonely young man who befriends a vampire. That's pretty much the name of the game. It's about the relationship they have together. It's also about the relationship that the vampire has with other people, basically her caretakers, her chefs, if you will. Was originally a Swedish film. This is an American remake. The Swedish film was called Let the Right One In. It's based on a Swedish novel as well. I really like the original. Of course, you got to give it to the original for the idea. But I think I would prefer to watch this one any day. One, because, I don't know, it's American, and it kind of skews American too. I noticed that. By even, I don't know, it takes us back in time to the mid-'80s, and they keep on, well, I don't know if it's keep on, but they have a few key scenes with President Reagan speaking about the course of America and the desire to stay good, and should America ever not be good, it would be a bad thing. And we see a young boy struggling with the same exact thing that Reagan is talking about. So I thought that was interesting. But I think I would just rather watch this one than the original, even though you got to give it up to the original. I would say they're equally as good as one another. But I thought this was an exceptional remake. Usually, sometimes in a remake, it loses something. Here, I think it, gains something, if anything. Written and directed by Matt Reeves, who did Cloverfield, which I thought was okay. He's made a much better film here. Stars Cody Smith-McPhee, Chloe Grace Moretz, and Richard Jenkins. It also stars Elias Koteas, but he did not get top billing. Excellent cast. The acting here is fantastic. And their two leads are two kids. I think they are both under the age of 14 at the time. And I think it's always kind of amazing when you get subtle, nuanced performance from teenagers. I think that's impressive. So I think that's one of the highlights of this film, is you get some excellent acting from child actors. Richard Jenkins and Elias Koteas are always great. And they are great here. Richard Jenkins is more in the first hour of the film, and Elias Koteas in the second hour. But they are both great. And Richard Jenkins, it's easy for him to do heartbreaking. He just has a face that can look mournful. At the drop of a hat. So I think it's easy for him to play this part, this character, and whatever, he nails it. It was perfect casting, perfect casting. I really liked the way it was directed. I started noticing things that I didn't notice in the theater, little subtle things. They're big into reflection in this movie. Like the boy, the main character, his parents are divorced. They are in the process of getting a divorce, and at the time when I would think that divorce was a relatively new thing and on the rise, and I mean in terms of not like it is today, where half of marriages end in divorce. It's back in the, early to mid 80s. What was it, maybe 30%? Less? I don't know. So you're watching him go through this thing, and he lives with his mom, but we never really get to see his mom. Like, we get to see her from a distance. We see her reflection. We see maybe a third of her profile. And again, this film, I guess, is really intelligent. And I think it really uses its cinematography, its shot composition, and just its direction in a way to tell a deeper story and to take this story way deeper, which is what a good director should do, and what a good movie should do. I think that the direction and all of the technical stuff really supports and brings up the screenplay, which is really, really good. It's based off of the screenplay to the original, and of course the novel, which was also Swedish, I think I mentioned. So the direction really elevates the story here, really complements it well. I think it's, if I haven't said it yet, I'm not sure if I have, I'm giving it an 8. Sorry if you're waiting to hear that. I'm definitely giving it an 8. It says right on the cover, the best American horror film in the last 20 years. So saith Stephen King. Now, I don't know about the last 20 years, but it's definitely one of the year's best horror movies. I mean, I can't sit here and think, but if I don't count Black Swan, then I would probably say this is the best horror movie of last year. It's very good. It's very good. I really like the fact that it's a vampire tale, a vampire movie, where the vampire is a monster. I guess in a way, Dracula has always been sexy, or had that ability to be sexy, because vampires have the power of attracting anybody. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be Robert Pattinson to get women to want them. They could look like anybody. They could look like, I don't know, Tony Soprano. They could look like Tony Soprano and get all the women in the world because they have that power. They're vampires. Anyway, this is a film where the vampire is a monster. You might not mind meeting Robert Pattinson's vampire somewhere, but you do not want to meet this vampire, ever. And I wouldn't think you would ever want to meet a vampire, period, because that would pretty much mean you were dead. Or undead, soon to be. And I really enjoy how it makes her basically a demon, which I think is good. I think that's what vampires need. We need to be afraid of vampires, not want to date them. So I really appreciated that, getting back to the roots of vampires. And that's another thing, is this movie, if you think about it, if you sit and think about it, it is tremendously sad. It's tremendously sad, and the character, the main character, is tremendously evil. It's just heartbreaking, really. I mean, after I saw it in the theater, I just couldn't help thinking about it for like the day that I saw it. Here, maybe I'm not so much thinking about it, because I did so much thinking about it when I first saw it, but it's tremendously sad what she takes from you. So you're basically seeing her, or basically seeing his character evolution before you. You see how he starts, and you see how he ends with Richard Jenkins, and the other way you see how Richard Jenkins ends, and in a way you know how it started. So you see what she does to not only her prey, but to the people who love her, or it. She is not a girl. So it's, I mean, I think it's a really rewarding film. I feel like I'm rambling slightly, but I think it's a really rewarding film. I mean, it's a solid 8. If you didn't see it in the theater, get to it. The Blu-ray looks fantastic, as you'd imagine. Just little subtle things that I can tell. I already look forward to watching it a third time at some point down the road. Really good stuff. Terrific performances from all the actors. Incredibly well directed. Brings up the screenplay, complements it, and the screenplay is already very good. Lots of good little character pieces in there. I really hope, just as a note, that school bullying, there's like a big portion of the film is dedicated to the main character's trials and travails at school, and namely a school bully. I hope the school bully is exaggerated. I mean, I hope that didn't come from anyone's life, because man, that's just terrible. I mean, really, the boy is just so sad in this movie. His life is terrible. One of the most heartbreaking scenes for me is he tells his father that he loves him in this heartbreaking conversation that you would never want to have with your son about the nature of evil. And he tells his father he loves him, and his father hangs up the phone. The boy's life is very sad, and he, I guess in a way, has no choice but to become a mass murderer in the aid of a vampire. So it's like he's taking the better course of action here, and that's a terrible thing to say. He's got absentee parents, and he was basically raising himself in a way. Again, this movie is filled with little things. If you watch just little subtle things, it says so much about the other characters. One thing I can also think of is the mom never did the dishes. The mom never did much of anything but drink. I guess she would get home from work, cook dinner, start drinking wine, and then pretty much pass out. You see her feeding him mac and cheese. And then, I think it was before that, we see dishes in the kitchen and the sink, not done for a week. You know, a week's worth of dishes, dirty dishes. And there's just tons of mac and cheese everywhere. It's like she gets home every day and makes nothing but mac and cheese for him. So again, there's just like little subtle things that I think elevate this film above others. I think it's definitely a highlight of the year. I mean, it is a good solid 8. But it is tremendously sad and meditative in a way. I think it's very intelligent. Basically, I think it's an excellent film, and I think you should watch it. Definitely watch it. If you're a horror movie fan, it's one of the best horror movies in a while. One of the most intelligent horror movies in a while. It's just great. You know, it's a great movie. It's an 8, and you should definitely watch it. Well, there seems like I want to say something else about it, because I'm just trailing here, and I don't know what I want to say. But whatever. I loved it, and I think you will too. All right. Later. Thanks.